What is up, everybody? Welcome to Let's Look at Wolves on the Westwind. Wolves on the Westwind is a choose-your-own-adventure, choices-matter game. Let's jump in and take a look at it. We can play as Nadim. You're Nadim Saba Deshendea, and a mage from the lands of Tulamides, struggling to complete your training. You came north to seek help from ottajasko, a community of Thorwalian magic users. Having been turned away, you are now returning south with no plan of what to do next. We get 2 spells of your lord. We could play as Alric. You're Alric Duranal, the weathered mercenary from Pendergast who has wasted his life fighting other people's battles. You came north of Thorwal, protecting a Nordfrisian trader who was on his way to important talk, the hetman of Isleifsfell. Yeah, lots of hard names. Let's play as Alfric. Chapter 1. Get down! You hear the twang of a bowstring in enough time to throw the trader you're escorting into cover. He leaps behind a bush in a blind panic as you skitter around a nearby tree to keep watch. The road was supposed to be safe, I had it guaranteed. It's going to be fine. Stay calm, it's going to be fine, so let me do my job. He swallows down a bundle of nerves as he looks at you, then peeks over the bushes to find your pursuers. You contort yourself around and look behind the trees without giving the archers a target to hit. Too dark to see them or their numbers clearly, you can hear them though, getting closer quickly. Isleifsfell is close, we should make a run for it. You know he's not wrong, but you also know that unless you do something now, that alone will not be enough. Fend off the bandits. Another arrow sails past you. You growl and shake your head as you tighten your grip on your sword. You need to go as quickly as you can, I'll fend them off. But go now. You pick him up by his collar and throw him back towards the road where he scrambles to stay upright. Cast one desperate look towards you in the cart, and you now protect before he bolts away awkwardly. Another arrow flies past your face to pierce the cart's woodwork as you stand ready to protect it. Out of the shadows, you start to see the nearest of the bandits race towards you. One has followed you directly and relentlessly down the path. The next appears from the verge, whirling an axe as she goes. One after another, they appear out of the darkness, and you know you'll be overrun in moments. Forceful blow. This ability allows Alric to strike with an overwhelmingly strong blow to knock opponents back. Pick them by surprise and get through a variety of obstacles that might stand in his way. Yeah, let's smack him. Thinking quickly, you focus all your power into a kick at the cart's rear wheel that makes the wood creak and crack. You wait for the bandits to close in before kicking out again, and the Arc's axle buckles and gives away. One of the bandits shrieks in surprise as he's hit square in the head with a barrel. The second slows as another rolls towards her. The resulting confusion gives you enough chance to dodge away and escape, and so you run. You can already see Joseld ahead, flailing about as he struggles to keep up any kind of pace. So focused are you on your own escape that you don't even notice the town clearly visible ahead. It's only when the first arrow sails past you in the other direction that you really focus on the palisade. People are now racing out of the town towards you, all well armed. We're paid to get Joseld to safety. As the road between the palisade and the bandits becomes a hail of arrows, you see Joseld stumble and fall at the head. He cowers there until you reach him, grab him in both hands, and pull him up to his feet and drag him to safety. He sputters as you pull him through the throng of Thorwalian warriors, now ready to stand ready for the fight to begin. You feel a great swell of relief as the cries start to ring out behind you, and you can finally stop the breathing. The danger passes. Against all odds, you've actually made it to safety. Not a long fight, and those who were chasing you are quickly routed by the town's defenders. They ask you many questions about the chase as they invite you into the town proper, and then you can finally rest a while, laying down your burdens until morning comes. It's a cold but bright sun that rises over the thatched roofs of Isleifsfell to greet you the next day. Even after years of training and experience, you still have the aches and pains of your trials and tribulations. A gentle breeze tugs at your clothes, and the smell of salt in the air helps to keep you sharp. The town wakes up around you as though nothing has ever happened. People open up their shops and services for the day, seagulls call overhead. Over the din, you hear the blowing of bellows and the pounding of a hammer against steel as a blacksmith gets to work. Outlander! No sooner have you stopped at the market stand of freshly baked loaves and buns do you hear her call. You immediately recognize her as one of the warriors who came to your rescue at the palisade. Amongst the rest of the townsfolk, she stands out in a dress much richer and brighter in color. Istrid Ulfgar daughter, we met briefly last night. Good morning, I'm glad to meet you properly this time. Indeed, let me be the first to give you a proper welcome to Isleif. I'm just gonna call it Isleif. I can only apologize for the chaos of your arrival. It's hardly your fault. What can I do for you? Her brow furrows as she grimaces at you and becomes more serious. I'm afraid it's about the attack. My father wishes to speak to you about it. Come, you'll eat with us this morning. It's the least we can do. Much to the complaining of your empty stomach, torn away from your breakfast to follow Istrid. He leads you farther inland, jostling through crowds as the town wakes up around you. I'll be honest with you, Outlander, this attack was quite troubling. We need to make sure nothing like this ever happens again if we can. We have a reputation to uphold. What about the patrols? I noticed there weren't any patrols on the road. She chuckles and gives you a wry smile as she massages the muscles on her hands. It's been a long time since any thought it necessary to protect our lands with patrols. Fathers worked hard to make Isleifsfell safe. Those who break our laws are met with justice or retribution. One way or the other, it is quick, so most know better than to ambush travelers here. What makes this attack so troubling? We must act quickly to find those responsible. Estrid falls darkly quiet after that. It makes you slightly more uneasy as you continue up the gentle slope towards the hetman's hall. The fight had been almost as soon as it had started. Many of your attackers had fled at the first sight of the defending warriors. Those who had helped you had been quick to usher you away to a longhouse to rest and recover. They had seemed a little on edge, but you thought that was simply down to the surprise of the attack. Now it seems that something larger was at work, and that the hetman was to speak to you about it as concerned. The noise of the town only swells, its bustling streets awaken. But as you climb upwards, everything starts to feel a little less cramped as the space between buildings grow. Soon you're in a wide open square, and Estrid is beckoning you towards a great hall that stands ancient and resolute before you. She pushes the huge double door to the hall open without knocking or waiting. You're slightly taken aback by the sheer scale of the room you step into. Long benches flank the path to the hetman's table, and huge chandeliers hang from the rafters. A handful of trophies are placed on the walls, a reminder of the triumph of those who have ruled in Isleif. The air is stale and reeks of food, fire, and sweat. Father, I found our guest. Estrid leaves you to a table that you sit at the back of the hall, positioned so that those sat there can watch over everyone. The hetman looks up from his conversation at his daughter's call and quickly stands as you approach. He greets you warmly and heartily with arms wide and a smile to match, bowing his head in your direction. Well met, Outlander. I'm Swafnir, the Travia's the names. You are most welcome here. Thank you for joining us this morning. Please sit and take your fill of food and drink. A wide spread of meats, fish, breads covers the central square table, and easy reach of the hetman and his family. Thank you, hetman. Thank you, hetman. It's a pleasure to be seated with you. Ulfgar waves a dismissive hand at your comment as you walk up a small set of stairs towards his table. It is only what's due, Outlander. Please, sit. Come, we must get to business. This is Brand. He's the town's goatee. He's been an advisor to the het person for many decades now. He indicates an older, near decrepit man in a heavy bundle of robes who sits and eats at the end of the table. Brand gives you a long side glance that immediately unnerves you, but he says nothing and continues chewing. Without wasting another breath, the hetman moves on to introduce the other younger man at the table. I believe you met my youngest, Raskir. Raskir nods at you curtly as he throws a bite of bread into his mouth and picks up a tankard to drink from. Once again, he seems to look you up and down before he leans across the table to give you a strong handshake. Thank you, again, for escorting the Nostrian trader to our town. I'm sorry it wasn't as simple as suggested. The whole thing is rather troubling. Shame about the cart. It's only a shame that I had to destroy the cart so that we could slow the bandits down. It is, but the important thing is the trader arrived safe and sound. He wished to trade while in Isleif, but that's not why he is here. Our talkers are very important. I'll not let them be ruined by anyone, but definitely not those peaceless snakes. Forgive me for saying so, but you seem more upset by this than I'd expect. Raskir chuckled before taking a sip from his tankard and reaching forward to rip a handful of bread from the loaf. You know what it means to be peaceless, Outlander? Don't personally. Estrid hides a smirk at your impertinence behind her goblet as Raskir leans forward with a dark look. Those that attacked you last night have committed terrible, terrible crimes. They are ashamed of their ancestors. They have been stripped of all honor they had ever had and can never have. They will never find peace with the gods. They will never fight at Swafnir's side or drink at Travia's table. That is why the peaceless are scorned and hide amongst themselves on the old port stones. For them to return in force to the mainland makes no sense, but if a group of them have, then they are in grave danger and we must deal with them. An uncomfortable silence falls in the hall while you process what Raskir has said. Out of it is the headsman that clears his throat to speak up, talking to you over his drink. I called you here for your help, Outlander. You have already proven that you're a capable fighter. You could be of great help to us once again, and my son is right. We must deal with the peaceless. Today, he and Estrid will head out to find those that remain and end the threat before they can strike again. I'd like you to join them. 3 of us? Just the 3 of us, really? Quite a number that attacked us, and still a fair few that fled when it was over. Wouldn't it be better to send a larger group of warriors if you hope to defeat them? A band like this would simply turn to run at the sight of an army of Thorwalian warriors coming to meet them. If everything goes according to plan, a smaller group can catch them off guard. Besides, look at you, we're more than good enough to beat these wretches. The room falling quiet again, you can't help but notice the small niggling feeling in the back of your mind. You can't place it, but it only adds to the uneasiness that's been building in your chest throughout all this morning. I'm happy to pay you, Outlander, if that's what it takes. You're welcome to stay here as a guest for a while, at least if that suits you. Of the 3 of them, Ulfgar is the only one who seems patient to await your answer. Estrid is trying to mask her own uneasiness by glancing up at you between small pickings of her food. Raskir, though, makes no effort to hide the fact that he's on edge, staring at you over his veal. Something's wrong here. What aren't you telling me? Same moment, Raskier rolls his eyes in frustration. Estrid sighs and rubs hers. The hetman quickly signals for both of them to settle down, shifting in his seat and putting a careful hand on the table. We aren't trying to deceive you, Outlander. There are things in motion that are beyond your control, Outlander. The stranger at the end of the table has been so quiet throughout the meal that you had forgotten he was there. Now, though, you look at him as he spits out a fishbone and glances across to you. And under his gaze, you feel the hair on the back of your neck stand on end. It is the will of Runjas that you arrived here. If they had wished to keep you in Nostrio or anywhere in the south, they would not have brought you here. But here you are, so that you may aid us in this. The hetman did not wish for me to tell you. He thought you may doubt what the Runjas has revealed to us. Look at the hetman tells you that he is feeling a measure of regret at the goatee's outburst. But again, he awaits your response. I'm here by choice. I chose to accept your contract. No one else did that for me. But you are here, Outlander, as the rune said you would be before you even arrived. The rune said an unknown warrior would aid us in what is to come. Until the peaceless chased you to our doorstep, that made little sense, but now the fates have revealed it to us. Sorry that I wasn't more open with you until now. A little more than we can say now, Father. Either the Outlander will help us or he won't. You're very conscious that all three of them now await your final answer. But as you sit in silent contemplation of the words, your eyes are drawn back across the room to the goatee. He's gone back to his own little world, chewing on some dried fish and staring off into a distant part of space. You feel pressure building, left with very little time to think about your decision. Especially the hetman and his family are now left with their meals alone and are fully focused on you. Your mind teeters a little, and the idea of your arrival in Isleifsfell was preordained. The gods have never struck you as particularly forthcoming with their plans, if they ever had any. But there's that niggling sensation again, chewing at the back of your mind. Are we agreed, Outlander? You sit stunned for one more moment, then you're overwhelmed without realizing you just nod once. I must. I'll help where I can. Then your word is a pledge to me. There is no hint of jovial nature now. He is grim and reserved as he nods. You should all prepare to leave as soon as possible. Good hunting. Okay. I'm assuming I just clicked the big giant circle. With them as children, Estrid and Rakir, in order to prepare for the task ahead. Interesting. So it's kind of like the Sir Bronte we used to play on the channel a while back, where it's just, you're just making choices, reading a ton and stuff. I love games like this. We won't do a full 30 minutes of this because I don't want to ruin like a bunch of the story, because it is obviously very story oriented, but I'll give you an idea of what it is. We'll do a little bit more. Preparations do not take long. You're told to bring as little as you can, for you'll move swiftly and sleep roughly should you need to rise. You're well practiced for such exercises, and soon you're armed, armored, and once again underway. You shouldn't be nervous as you walk back out of the longhouse and through the town of Isleif. Nerves before this kind of skirmish were honed out a few years ago. But something about the words of the old man, the goatee, are toying with your mind. Thorwalers lean heavily on the will of their Runjas. Over the years, you've heard many Thorwalers traveling further south talk about them very openly. Never has it affected you so personally. Is it really their will that you be here now? If so, why? Why not someone else? These questions grate on you, no matter how hard you fight to shake them off before you reach the palisade. Estrid and Raskier are waiting for you there. They both are far more imposing figures, dressed and ready for a fight. They both acknowledge your arrival with a quick nod. A quiet nod as they glance over your equipment and gauge your readiness. Outlaws. Oh. Raskier quickly lets out a hearty laugh and points at you as he looks at his sister. I like this one. She gives you each a wry smile, but quickly wishes for you to calm down. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Overconfidence will kill us faster than peaceless can. Before we begin, we'll ask Swafnir for a blessing. Will you join us? Prayers. I don't have to take part in something like this seriously. No matter, it is simple. You can listen to me and Estrid first, and that will be enough. Feel no pressure, Outlander. For us, this is tradition. It goes unnoticed by your brother, which will hear the very slight pause in her explanation. So duty to fulfill. For you, the offer is extended only if you wish it. Though I'm sure the gods would welcome it. Then I'll join you. Estrid bows her head and respects your decision before moving to break the circle you have all formed in the street. As she walks away from you, you catch the subtle but strange look on her face, somewhere between disappointment and concern. Skier, meanwhile, doesn't hide his joy at your decision. They line up next to each other a few steps out of the way of the path out of town. Stand next to Estrid, following their lead as they lay down their weapons at the feet. Raskier first bows his head and raises his hands over his axe with his palms facing towards the heaven. O Swafnir, brave conqueror, tireless hunter, watch over this axe and its bearer. Speak the ferocity you're not quite expecting. Let his voice carry for far with no hint of shame. In your name and by your will I go forth to fight. To build upon the honor of my forebears, to prepare for the final fight, to fulfill my destiny, and that is my goal. Grant me but a piece of your godly power, and let me prevail. That he snatches his axe back up, though he waits where he stands for Estrid to say her prayer too. She repeats the prayer almost word for word, changing only axe for sword and shield. Then it is your turn. Take it slowly to make sure you do not get the words wrong. Your prayer is not as strong or confident as Estrid's, and certainly not as much as Raskier's, but he is nodding at you when you pick up your sword to affirm that you have done everything correctly. Estrid's expression is much harder to read, but she holds herself confidently as she double-checks the straps of her van braces. Take the lead, Outlander. Take us where you were first attacked. We will pick up the trail from there. Alright. I don't want to ruin too much story, guys, and I feel like we've already read a ton for a Let's Look At, and I'm dying on my throat. Well, that's going to do it for this one. Check it out yourselves if you're interested in the story. There looks like there's 2 different story modes right now. So definitely go give them a look. That's going to do it for me, though. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. Hey, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to hit that like button. If you've got anything to say, go to the comments below, and if you haven't yet, hit that subscription button and the bell. If you want to see more, check out this video down here. Thank you so much for watching. Peace!